Hi friends and fellow Earth Angels, it's Gladys, and welcome back to another one of my pick-a-pile readings. And this spread will focus on the full moon in Scorpio. So part of the additions to my channel is working with the new moon and the full moon. The full moon is about releasing, purging, surrendering. This full moon in Scorpio has a tendency to bring up the heat, bring up the fiery emotions of jealousy, anger, resentment, judgments, the ego, right? The shadow side of the ego. It can bring up our insecurities, our worries and fears, right? And if you can lean into those feelings for these next couple weeks, if you can drop down from your head of, what am I going to do about this? How can I fix this, save this, change this, make this better? How can I be in problem solver mode? If you can make these minor adjustments and go into your feeling body and just allow yourself to feel your humanness, right? We're on this planet as Earth Angels to really experience the soul and the human energy, right? And these uncomfortable, unpleasant energies that are released from us are all connected to past lives and the inner child work and the shadow work. And we're really learning how to take out the negative connotation to these experiences. We're really learning how to gain wisdom and insight and kind of lean into these experiences. And I can tell you, friends, I understand, and I may not know exactly what you're going through, but I can relate to how uncomfortable and painful these energies can be and how they can feel. But when we can take out that knee-jerk reaction of doing something about it and get into the exploration of it. Well, is this a true statement? Is this the reality of, or is this my shadow work that's coming up? And you can really tap into the wisdom of those experiences that you're having. So let me just share with you some of my notes on the Scorpio full moon that we're in. Understand too that the planet Pluto is stationing to go retrograde. Now Scorpio, so Mars and Pluto are the planets, the old and the new planets that govern Scorpio. So we've got Pluto stationing to go retrograde in the midst of this Scorpio full moon. We've got Mars that's shifted into Cancer. Mars does not like to be in Cancer, so it's been like sidelined. Scorpio is emotional energy, and it falls in alignment with the sun in Taurus. So remember, Taurus energy is sensual and Scorpio energy is sexual. So you could be having emotions, hot emotions coming up with regards to your romantic relationships through healing, unresolved, unsettled experiences from past relationships. You could be in a relationship now that's triggering stuff. You're having experiences that's triggering stuff that you experienced from past relationships. So be mindful how you're getting activated this week, and just, like I said, lean into it and saying, wow, I feel that, connecting into the Divine Mother, right? Asking for assistance and wisdom to support you in how to move through and navigate these energies. Both signs, Taurus and Scorpio, can bring up the feelings, emotions, experiences of possessiveness or jealousy. This would be, and maybe there's some stuff that's dormant. Maybe you're not having these experiences, but this would be a really great time to surrender and release upsets and dramas, detaching from and releasing resentments Also, too, be honest with yourself. If you've been experiencing manipulation or you've been manipulative yourself or controlling, that's certainly something that came up for me when I was in Sedona, is releasing control. That things should be any other way than they are. And then tuning into flow, receiving guidance in flow. This is a good time to find balance between those hot emotions and the parts of us that are just kind of plodding along in life. Let me see. Scorpio is a highly emotional water sign. It's a time to release negativity times 5. So, if we can look at this, like I said, instead of dread, like, oh, I'm so tired of feeling this way, and really get into that curiosity and compassion, it can really empower us. So, I've got some cards for this reading for you to support you. I got these cards in Sedona. I believe they came out in March of 2020, and I absolutely love them. And my intention with these full moon and new moon readings is to really activate the divine feminine energy and tune into the feminine essence. So I was really excited to use these cards. This is how it looks when you open up the box and look at these. They're like a quarter size. And they've just got like wisdom on the back. So I'm going to start with pulling 3 different goddesses, and I'll read their messages. And then I'll pull the rest of the cards that I'm going to use with these spreads. So those are going to be what the goddess feels would benefit you to surrender to the full moon in Scorpio. And then we're going to tap into the wisdom of the emotions. How can you be supported in the emotions and the feelings that are coming up? And then what you're being gifted with, the why. Like, why are you having these experiences, or why are these things coming up for you, and support with that. And then we're going to finish with a message from Archangel Michael. So here's the thing. Michael is the angel that helps us to move through worries and fears. He can help us activate courage and strength. He's about justice and fairness, right? So he's the guardian of the light. And sometimes these energies that are coming in, it can feel like we're just like, it's like we're just being like taken out by the legs, like, right, somebody's coming in and just sweeping our legs, or the energies can come along and we can feel like we're being like sucker punched or, overwhelmed by the energy. One of the scenes that came up earlier for me was, I don't know if you've seen that movie Spaceballs, and the princess and her I don't know what you call it, her sidekick or her like bodyguard, the female robot, they were in jail, and she was singing this song, "Nobody knows the troubles I've seen." Like, I just feel like we're kind of in this energy, right? And I mean, if you've ever watched that movie, it's funny, and it's kind of like a play on, and she goes, "Nobody knows but Jesus," right? And so, it just kind of reminded me that Jesus and Mary Magdalene and the divine feminine and the divine masculine, they know the way out. They know how to help us navigate the human experience and drop down into our heart wisdom, right? Our heart insight. So if you can use these challenges that you may be experiencing or that might be coming up in these next couple weeks, and drop down into your heart center, your heart wisdom, so that you can see the truth, and so that you can see how to move forward and navigate, which will then just make you stronger in the long run, right? You as an earth angel on this planet are a force to be reckoned with, right? Unfortunately, we live in a society that has disarmed us in our own empowerment. So So that's why I feel like it's so important to help you and support you in remembering on how brilliant and magical and amazing and intuitive and special and alluring you are, and your light within you is so powerful. So I pray that this guidance supports you in activating more of that, or something even better. So let me get into it. Let me open up space, inviting in all your guardian angels and guides, the archangels, the ascended masters, the divine mother and father, and all their holy beings of light that would like to assist with this guidance, specifically the goddess energy, the divine mother energy. I'm going to ask that the messages that come through be for your best and highest good and the best and highest good of all concerned. All right, so 3 goddesses. Let's see here. What 3 goddesses want to come out to support you? How should I pull these? Okay, so I'm going to go with, oh boy, 1, 2, 3. All right, let me set these up for you. Okay, so card number 1 is Our Lady of Regla, goddess of the moon, of course. It says, your profound desire for harmony among your people will ultimately transform the disharmony you may be experiencing in a deeper connection for all involved. The ripple effect of your empathy inspires your beloveds to shine their inner light, even in their dark nights of the soul, and not only learn to tolerate, but ultimately celebrate one another. This feels like if you are on like a mission, if you are on a mission to support others in their transformation on their planet and their growth, this goddess can support you. And again, this is for you yourself, your own inner work, and in turn to assist others. The second goddess that came out, oh boy. Vajrayogini, Tantric deity of great passion. Another phenomenal card for the Scorpio energy. It says, use your fury to activate your enlightenment. See, this is how we're learning how to transform our pain into our power. It says, anger and intense emotion get a bad rap in our society, so we keep them under wraps. However, they can be a positive force when refined and aligned with your most life-serving visions. Allow your divine passion to help you blaze through obstacles and bring forth your greatest dreams. I told you these are good. And the third one we have is Frigg, goddess of destiny. You make a difference in the lives of those you love. Don't fret when you get ensnared on the physical plane. Simply shapeshift into a winged creature, rise above, and allow yourself to see your situation from the highest vantage point. From this sky point perspective, you can alter the course of your destiny. I mean, I always say it's amazing how these cards just unfold and they all kind of come in sync. It's not amazing, it's divine, and that's the way that it works, right? So these are the 3. I'm going to pull the rest of the piles. You can watch. Sometimes if you're not sure what to pick, in me picking the piles, something can resonate with you. You get more clarity, or you can jump ahead when the piles are picked. I'll put the timestamps in the notes below, and you can kind of feel your way through it. As I say, you can watch all 3. You can watch 2 of the 3, or you can just watch 1. You can watch 1 now and come back later. Remember, we're in a place of releasing, purging, and surrendering to the full moon right now. We're not trying to make something happen. We're not trying to manifest. We're open to receiving, right? We're open to receiving the gifts of of the intentions we put out in the new moon. And this is a time to release any aggravations, any frustrations, any angers, any resentment, and just allowing, again, to feel it through it, not trying to put it on something, judge it, blame, shame, feel guilty about it. Just experience it, right? And through that comes wisdom. All right, so let's see. Regla. I'm going to ask, what do you suggest pile 1 surrenders to this full moon? And the deity of great passion, what do you suggest? Pile 2 surrenders during this full moon. And then pile 3, goddess of destiny. What do you suggest? Pile 3 surrenders during this full moon in Scorpio. All right. And what message of emotional support can benefit pile 1? What messages and emotional support can benefit pile 1? Pile 2, messages for emotional support can benefit pile 2. And emotional support for pile 3. Let's see here. Well, I'm just going to pull these. And what are you being gifted with? What are you being gifted with this full moon in Scorpio for pile 1? And pile 2. What are you being gifted with? Pile 2. What's pile 2 being gifted with? And pile 3. What's pile 3 being gifted with? Let's see. Let's go with this one. And finally, Archangel Michael. What overall message do you have for pile 1 to support them during this full moon in Scorpio? All right, let's get these. Pile 2. Michael, what message do you have for pile 2 to support them? Overall message. And pile 3. Overall message to support pile 3. All right, friends. Let me get these situated here. Let's see here. Okay. All right, friends. All right, friends. So these are the piles. Pile 1, goddess of the moon. Pile 2, tantric deity of great passion. And goddess 3, pile 3, goddess of destiny. So what are you feeling you need more of? Take a deep breath, tune in, maybe you hear the numbers 1, 2, or 3. And let's begin. And pile 1, welcome. Again, if you skipped ahead to the timestamps, you chose the goddess of the moon. Again, your profound desire for harmony among your people will ultimately transform the disharmony you may be experiencing into a deeper connection for all involved. The ripple effect of your empathy inspires your beloveds to shine their inner light even in their dark nights of the soul, not only learn to tolerate, but ultimately celebrate one another. So I feel like those of you who chose pile 1, you may be an example. You may be a leader. You may be a matriarch, a patriarch in your family. You might be a go-to person. You might be a boss. You might be in leadership position. And, you know, how we navigate things is how we set the energy out to support others, right? So I'm just a really big advocate of when we shift the inside, the outside and the surrounding adjusts accordingly and we align. So many of us have this program that if I do something, if I fix, if I save, if I change, I make better, if I take care of this one, if I do this for this one, then I'll be okay. And what happens is it's like a wicked trap, friends. We get stuck in this cycle of fixing and changing and problem solving and doing for everybody, and it just gets very exhausting. So earth angels are now learning how to or uncovering new ways of healing our mental, emotional, spiritual bodies on deeper levels, right? So as you dig into your own self-healing, as you explore and navigate and adjust in the experiences you're having, you then in turn shift your world around you. I keep seeing that as above, so below, as within, so without, right? And so a lot of times our human self doesn't want to look at or take responsibility for what could be happening in our lives, right? There's this unhealthy heroism of bigger is better and doing more and the hunt. And, you know, I say all the time, it leads us to a dead end of burnout, right? Or these cycles and rhythms. So when you can pull back and work through shifting this, the wounds, right? Especially in the divine feminine energies, if we can work on healing our own wounds, it then brightens our light even more so when we align and attract those that we can share our wisdom with. So those of you who chose pile 1, like I said, you may be in leadership positions. You might be, you know, working with others and doing healing work, and understand that the more healing work you do on yourself, the more wisdom you gain and the more you're able to share with others to support them on their healing journey. So the cards that have come with this is what the goddess suggests you surrender this full moon is stubbornness, right? That things have to be a certain way. How can you look at the cycles and rhythms? How can you reflect upon it from seeing it from a higher perspective and saying, okay, what have I done in the past? And here I am again. And how can you be open to change? How can you surrender the way you've been doing things and open up to the possibility of something new that might be uncomfortable, that might be unknown to you? So the message here says, if you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, it has to be this way, right? This is the only way that this can be done. It says, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. Like that inquiry question, what if there was another way? Divine, what if there was another way? Show me, open those doors for me, right? This is us now being open to receiving instead of being in a constant state of problem solving, giving, and doing. It says this will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself, right? And how can... what message did the goddess have to support you in your emotions this full moon in Scorpio? Help appears in various ways, right? Sometimes we think we've been doing things a certain way for so long and that's the only way because it worked at one point in time. It was something that helped you. So I'm just feeling like it might be time for some of you who chose pile 1 to release it's almost like release I'm seeing water, like a buoy that we've been holding on to in the middle of the ocean, and it's now time to start swimming somewhere, to get somewhere. It's like we have this false sense of security, right? But it's not getting us anywhere. And so we're holding on to it for the fears. And I feel like this might be a time to release, right, those things that we're gripped so tightly to. So of course, this is an 8 card. 8 is an abundance number, right? Abundance can come in various ways. It's also a number that can represent cycles and rhythms and patterns that we're not seeing. So it says there is much support for you. Sometimes you may get so adrift, you forget to look at the support systems that are with you continuously. So where have you been in a space where it's like, I have to figure this out on my own, or what I'm doing, or I have to problem solve for my child, my coworkers, my partner. I have to fix them and give them advice. Where are we sometimes like imposing our judgments, or how are we maybe looking outside of ourselves? Like, well, if, I help this one, or if I do this for this one, then it'll get better. So I feel like this is why for this full moon in Scorpio, maybe those hot emotions, like I said, of angers or resentment is coming up to assist you and squeezing you, right? So remember, the divine works in a way that when we ask for more, when we ask to, and more, I mean evolve and grow, and ascension is ultimately gaining access to deeper wisdom, or it's like layers, like we see things that we didn't see before. And when we ask to grow in that, and whether it's growing in abundance or empowerment, or growing in love, or growing in partnership, or growing and expanding in purpose, right? When we ask the divine to bring in more of, to assist us, it usually comes from, or the fix, or the growth actually comes from challenge, right? We're being squeezed. And when you can take out that kind of that victim energy of I'm doing something wrong, or I'm not getting it right, which I certainly can fall in. I recognize it a lot faster right now. And when I can shift that and saying, oh yeah, that's right. I asked for this on a soul level, and I'm up for the challenge. I'm excited to see how this is going to unfold. And I actually unplug from the desire or the pull or the old program to do something about it. I leave it alone, and I ask myself, okay, what is it that my body needs right now? What is it that I'm feeling the void of, that I'm trying to go outside of myself? Sometimes it's that not feeling good enough. Sometimes it's needing attention. Sometimes it's needing affection. Sometimes it's allowing my life to unfold the way it's unfolding and not necessarily the way I want it to, right? Seeing that things can only be a certain way, right? And so when we can kind of pull back and feed ourselves in a healthy way, you'd be amazed how we naturally align to that outside of us. And so what's the gift this full moon in Scorpio? Doubt. Interesting. It says offering all to the divine doesn't mean negativity never arises, but you can say, free me from this prison of doubt, right? Sometimes, we're in this space and we doubt that there can be another way. We doubt that our own abilities to grow and expand and offer guidance and wisdom, right? To support others. It says, free me from this prison of doubt. I cast this burden to you. Show me your will and restore me to faith and confidence. So I feel like this is what you're being gifted with, the awareness of doubt, self-doubt, doubt in the divine, doubt in our own intuition. And what you're being gifted with through that challenge is faith and confidence. I love it. All right, Archangel Michael, what is your messages of support? Wow, admit to the truth to yourself and act accordingly. Again, this is the part of seeing how we may be unconsciously self-sabotaging. This is like, again, getting into the shadow, that usually the experiences we're having now that we're troubled in is connected to childhood in some ways, or parents, or unresolved things that we've had from the past comes up in our partnerships and our relationships with people now. So I try to find myself going backwards, like I'm triggered in an experience with a person, and then I try to map it back. Well, when was the last time I felt like this? And how have I felt like this before that? And how have I felt like this before that? And I just follow the pathway. And this is where I can admit to myself, oh, this is one of the wounds, right? And I love my wounds, and my wounds teach me so much, and they're the shadow teachers, but I also know that the wounds can be healed and I can grow from them. And then in turn, I'm able to teach and support and love and comfort others with what I've learned. Do you see how it works? It's like that infinity, the cycles and rhythms. So Archangel Michael's message here says, or his prayer that you can, and again, if you want to screenshot this, his prayer, if you resonate with this one, that you can say during the full moon next 2 weeks in Scorpio is, I appreciate your support in helping me face my feelings with grace and acceptance so that I can be lovingly honest with myself and others, right? This is, again, of releasing that it has to be this way, and doubts, and being open to new possibilities, especially in the new moon that's coming. So it says, thank you, Archangel Michael, for giving me courage and strength, right? Faith, confidence, courage, and strength. These are your gifts that you are strengthening yourself in as you dig into these difficult, unpleasant challenging experiences. And then on the other message is prayer would help the situation, right? It sounds so easy, right? So Michael's prayer also is, Dear God and Archangel Michael, and anyone else whom you pray, such as Jesus, any other beings, guides, the Divine Mother. It says, I ask for your divine intervention, and then describe the situation. I welcome your help, and I trust and follow your guidance with gratitude and grace. I need a miracle and ask that you send me one, you send one to me and the situation. Thank you, amen. Again, another prayer that would be wonderful for you to screenshot, and then every day for these next 2 weeks of the full moon in Scorpio, being able to surrender and release doubts, worries, fears, old ways of doing things, right? So when I say that, I don't want to add another thing that you have to do. You know, I really value, and I've talked about this in other readings, I really value the gift of pause and stillness and surrender and nothingness and rest and quiet. Like, I talk a lot about these words and teaching clients how to activate this energy of receiving. And so if you're challenged, right, trying to fix something, save something, do something about something, you're in this space of giving, you're in masculine energy. And if you're a feminine dominant being, then what happens is anger and resentment can surface. Like, I'm only doing this to get something. I'm doing this work. I'm doing this to get a bigger platform. I'm doing it to get more money. I'm doing it to, you know, and what happens is when we don't receive the outcome that we're expecting, it can create over time bitterness, right? And usually with bitterness, we're attracted to sweets and sugar and dairy and all those things that allow us or support us in relax, breathe, softening, and opening temporarily, right? It's an artificial source of release, right? It activates, and these food companies know this, it activates this these emotions in our bodies that feel good temporarily. Wine, a chocolate, diving into like rom-coms or TV, but it's temporary. It's a temporary fix, but those feelings and emotions will still be there. So especially with this full moon in Scorpio, how can you dig into it and be with it, right? So the giving and the receiving of love that the divine feminine energy needs, it's kind of that of a puppy or a dog or an animal that you have, right? When you share a treat with your fur baby, your fur friend, you're not doing it to get something. There is joy in the pet receiving and you giving. It's like simultaneous. It's like a beautiful, generous energy of love, right? When your dog comes running up to you and licks your face, or your cat comes and snuggles you, or whatever. If you've got a ferret or you've got a fish, when you go up to the tank, it comes over, it activates this natural giving and receiving. I do that with my clients as well, as I always ask God to send me clients that I can bless, that can bless me as well. So when I'm working with, these beautiful earth angels, we're sharing energy in a beautiful way back and forth. And I'm sharing my gifts and my wisdom, and simultaneously they're being lit up by the aha moments and the experiences they're having and the empowerment. And, there's no more from that after the session. It's just a beautiful exchange of loving energy. And so that's where I always say, God, more of this in my life, or something even better. I'm standing in my backyard watching the flowers bloom, and it's such a natural, I don't expect anything from the flowers. I'm not loving on them to get something back. It's an equal exchange of the flow of love and feminine dominant energies. And I just peeked at my statistics recently, and it looks like I have 100% following of feminine energy. So this is why I speak more to the feminine energy and help you and support you in navigating, because it's a large or all of my followers and who's watching and tuning in at this time. So, all right. Well, those of you who chose pile 1, thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, if it supported you, if it touched your heart in any way, I would love for you to hit that like button. If you want to stay following along with these, and you want to get notification when I post new ones in your email, you hit subscribe, and I think there's notifications. I don't know how it even works anymore, but I think you got to go into your settings and get and approve notifications with that. All right. Well, those of you who chose pile 1, thank you for watching. If your journey ends here, I love you. God loves you so much. Trust in the divine. Trust your intuition. And I send you love with heavenly hugs. Bye for now. And those of you who chose pile 2, welcome. You chose the tantric deity of great passion. So the message, once again, use your fury to activate your enlightenment, turning your pain into your power, right? When we can eliminate, this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, this is positive, this is negative. If we can just eliminate that and be curious. I'm noticing that I'm thinking. I'm noticing that I want to do something about. How can I pull back and drop down in my physical body and explore my feelings and allow myself to feel, right? It says anger and intense emotion get a bad rap in our society, so we keep them under wraps, right? This came from a lot with the masculine energy, right? Our grandfathers, a large population of our grandfathers and great-grandfathers, because war and those that enlisted at the time were highly masculine energies. It was like masculine dominant. And, what was taught is suppress your emotions. If you like show your emotions, you could die, right? If you show weakness, you can be taken advantage of. And that's true in war, but we're not in war right now, right? Maybe we're at war with ourselves. So, the masculine energies and the feminine energies are learning how to access our feelings and emotions on deeper levels now and leaning into it. So it says, however, your anger and intense emotions can be a positive force when refined and aligned with your most life-serving visions. Allow your divine passion to help you blaze through obstacles and bring forth your greatest dreams. So asking that inquiry question that is, well, what am I learning from this? When I've experienced this before, where is this coming from? And it's beautiful when you're sitting and being in pause and stillness and surrender and rest and quiet and nothingness, all those lovely words of the present moment, right? When we can come back to the present moment, you can then learn how to transform that energy into your power. And I also feel like I want to be guided to is these experiences that you might be having in the full moon in Scorpio, they're helping you get to a deeper core level of understanding the essence of who you are. We live in this 3D world where we've been being taught to disassociate from the essence of who we are, our strengths, our weaknesses, the authenticity of who we are. We've been taught, especially as earth angels, to hide our light, to hide our sensitivities, and it actually can store a lot of repressed anger and resentment. And that energy is held in the liver, the gallbladder, the spleen, the middle back. It's also connected to the heart center, which is heartache and betrayal. So forgiveness, I feel like, is a phenomenal energy for you to work with, right? Forgiveness doesn't mean that the experiences you had and what you did is okay. It's like, okay, how can I learn from this? What did I learn from this experience? How did I grow from it? And how can I move forward from it, right? You don't know until you know, and then when you know, you do better. So let's just get into the cards here. What does the Goddess of Great Passion suggest would be beneficial for you to surrender? Surrender your ego. Ooh, surrender to your soul's path. This is beautiful. This is what I talked about in the beginning about earth angels. Being born on this planet to reintegrate the energy of true love on this planet, but get to know kind of what Jesus and Mary Magdalene were their mission is to help us understand the soul and the human self, right? Kind of bridging the gap. The ego is kind of like that gap between the human and the soul. So we need the ego, but again, especially with the Scorpio full moon, when we're activated in judgment and resentment and manipulation and control and fear, we get stuck or trapped. So the card here says, cultivate gratitude, be of service to others, and come from the heart. Remember, that's that generous giving and receiving. A big ego can work against you, but humility will further your goals. Let's see. So, especially with earth angels, we can fall into the trap of, I'm the only one who can do this right. I'm the only one that can fix this situation. Or I know the answers too, so I'm going to tell them what they need to do, right? I'm the one that needs to be there for. And we don't realize that we're putting out a vibe to others that there's so much giving going on that we're putting out a vibe to the world that says, I don't need you. I can do it all on my own. And a lot of times this is unconscious, friends. We're not even aware that we're doing it. So when we can cultivate gratitude in this space of nothingness and pause and stillness and quiet and rest and surrender and saying, Creator, God, Source, the great one, right? The great one, Father, Mother, Love. It's like the union of the masculine and feminine. How may I be of service? How can I bring my gifts of miraculous healing to the world? And when we can pause and we can get out of our head and into our heart, then we'll be able to follow the leads, which brings us to surrendering our soul path, right? It says your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson and every moment. So, the ego can certainly, or the distortion of that can certainly say, I'm right, they're wrong. I know what I'm doing and nobody will listen to me, right? But when we're inserting ourselves in situations and experiences where we're not asked, or there is this like fear that things will go awry if we're not involved in everything, right? This can be this level of control that is an illusion of keeping us safe, right? If we can surrender into and remind ourselves, oh yeah, I have this divine energy that knows the blueprint, right? So you've come into this life to have certain experiences. This is part of what I do with my life purpose readings, right? I use your numerology and your 9-year cycle to support you on what you've come into this life to learn about. Now you have this map of what you've come into this life to learn about, but it is not determined how you learn it. That's based on free will, right? And so you can have experiences if you've come into this life to learn about abundance and power, or vision and acceptance, or creativity and confidence, or if you've come into this life to learn about what else is there? Wisdom and integrity. If you've come into this life to learn about freedom and discipline, these are all those parts that we've come into this life on the soul journey to learn about. We can learn about and expand in those areas in many, many, many different ways. And I feel like maybe you've been operating and learning a certain way, but this pile feels like if you've been feeling stuck, if you've been feeling like you're on the precipice of something more, or greatness, or you're on the precipice of growth, and it's like what I'm doing or what I have been doing isn't working for me anymore. I feel like this is where your guides or the goddess of great passion is saying there's more to stoke your fire in your soul's path, but will require you to move into a space of uncertainty, unknown, and do things in a different way. I love that. So what does the goddess of great passion suggest to support you in your emotional energy? Gliding through the currents. So it says, wow, with a different approach, right? You will glide through a situation with grace and ease, going inward and bringing your understanding, perspective, or behavior into flow will help your dreams take flight. I've been asking that question of myself, like, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep having these experiences? What am I learning from it? And frankly, friends, it's aggravating and annoying, just to be honest, right? But I've also looked at it in a way of not that I'm doing something wrong, or not that I can't handle it or move through it. I look through it now through a different lens that says, all right, universe, bring it, show me. I'm surrendering the problem solving. I'm surrendering the need to control or fix or do something about the situation, especially when I'm still trying to understand how I feel. And I'm able to express. I need space. I need to pull back. I need to sort through my stuff, right? And I say that to God. I say it to people in my life, and it requires a level of being with yourself, right? If you have a life right now where you don't get 5 minutes to yourself, that can be very challenging in learning how to access outside of old patterns, cycles, and rhythms of the mind, how to move in a different way, right? So I feel like this full moon in Scorpio is when this stuff comes up, surrendering and being able to say, I don't know what to do about this. And being like, okay, well, I don't have to do anything about it. Do you know how powerful that is? I don't have to do anything about this situation right now. I'm just going to pull back and see how it unfolds. Jesus talked about that a lot, about space, leaving things be. I like to say, leave room for the Holy Spirit. When you can see something, experience something, release it, saying, all right, God, it's in your hands. But the ego will be activated saying, oh, if you don't do something, everything's going to fall apart, right? So we have to be aware of these tricks of the mind, of these old cycles that we're digging into. So what are you being gifted with this full moon in Scorpio? Ooh, intention. So it says, intention is simply allowing the will and the mind to align and move in harmony, right? Your intention is, okay, I surrender this. I leave room for the Holy Spirit. I invite you in, right? The divine works based on the law of free will. So we have to ask and be open to receiving. If we're constantly in giving mode, doing something to get something, constantly in giving, constantly in the mind and the right side of the body, if you've got pain in the right side of your body, that's also an indicator that you might be overdoing, oversharing, overgiving. And again, I don't mean this. Please remove any shame or blame or, as this comes to light, please don't go there with those experiences that may just push you down even further, right? If you can saying, oh, I see it now and I'm going to explore it in a different way, removing judgment, shame, and blame, and just saying, okay, I surrender into the possibility that there's another way. It says, may I always focus on the highest. My intention is that all God's wishes for me come true, right? This is that belief system based on our soul's journey, our soul's path, the cycles and rhythms that are going on in our life, and it will activate purpose, it will activate presence, it will activate the light that radiates in your body. I feel like this is what's going on this full moon in Scorpio for so many earth angels, especially those of you who chose pile 2 here, is, there's this understanding that there's this desire for great passion, for great purpose, for higher levels of light and wisdom to support others, right? But we're learning it in a new way through our own abundance, laughter, play, adventure, fun, and freedom, right? How can we have these experiences? How can we intend to live a joyful life exactly where we are right now? And then when you're in that space, then you align to more of that in your life or something even better. So Michael's message for you, what his overall message for you of support and his prayer, energy healing work, of course. And so if you are an energy healer, remember, giving to yourself is so powerful. Going to have an energy healing session and receiving is powerful. I know there's still a lot of people doing telemedicine and telehealth and not working one-on-one. So energy healing work can also be receiving the electromagnetic energy from the planet, earthing, right? Going put your feet in the grass, or, I have these very beautiful trees that are blooming in my backyard. And I've got a very small backyard, but I've got so much magic and so much wonder and so much joy in my little backyard that I just go out there and I just receive the beauty, and it nourishes my soul, right? That's my energy healing work for myself right now. I spent some extra time in bed this morning. My bed is very comfy. My sheets are very soft, and I have one of those, those down, not down, but like those plushy comforters that is so warm, and pillows that are squishy. And so I just received this morning and relaxed into the support that was there and gained higher levels of wisdom for myself. So the prayer here says, and I encourage you to screenshot this, and maybe for the next 2 weeks while the full moon is in Scorpio, this is your way to receive, is open up to this prayer. Thank you for sending healing energy to me and through me for my own blessings and for all those around me. Thank you for connecting me to loving and high integrity healers and teachers of energy healing modalities. So I feel like this card card is encouraging support. I feel like this card is encouraging support for you, and being open to receiving guidance and wisdom and support. It can come in the form of these YouTube videos. It can come in the form of, I'm just so grateful for the mentors that I've been guided to, the healers, the teachers, the divine feminine energies out there that are so authentically and genuinely in their heart base, sharing their love and their light, especially for free. I think that's the beauty of us being able to share with others. But understand too that when we're able to offer things, when we're able to share, it's coming from a place of already feeling abundant, right? I had to put pause on pick a pile readings and other works that I was doing and other platforms that I was part of because I wasn't feeling the flow of energy, the overflow of energy. So I had to pull back and learn how to navigate and adjust and fill up my tank. And so when I do things like this, it comes from a place of giving from the overflow. So it's mutual. I share with you, and your joy and your receptivity and your pleasure and your happiness or your peace or your gift of transformation that you share with me is the return. It's so healthy. It's so beautiful. And so when we give, we want to learn to release it to the ethers. So I feel like that's what your guides are reminding you of this full moon in Scorpio. How can you take a hard look at the cycles and rhythms and the patterns that may not be working for you anymore, right? So new foundations, card number 13, 3 + 1 = 4. 4 is about structure. It's about process and stability. It's about foundations. In 4 in numerology, it's get back to work, right? It's like, okay, now let's start laying the foundations. So those of you who chose pile 2, it's like you're being encouraged to set new intentions that are more in alignment with your soul path, being able to look at the negativity that's coming up, or being able to see what's going on in your world that you may be that may be triggering, and saying like, okay, how may I be experiencing or doing this myself? How may I be doing this to myself in some way, right? It's being able to see the deeper levels of our experiences that we're unaware of. And we can certainly do that through guided meditations. I talk all the time about Steve Noble. He's got phenomenal releasing attachments, releasing anger and resentment meditations, and he works with the angels, and it's so powerful. I encourage you to explore and utilize the support that's out there, right? That can assist you with being able to turn your pain into your power, right? Allowing your divine passion to help you blaze through obstacles and bring forth your greatest dreams, right? Of being in service, adventure, play, laughter, fun, and freedom in spiritual enlightenment. All right, so those of you who chose pile 2, thank you so much for watching. If this touched your heart in any way, if this supported you or it resonated, I'd love it if you could hit that like button. If you would like to be part of this network and community and get notified when more of these videos come out, I believe you can hit the subscribe. And I don't even know if the notification comes up anymore. I think it's in your settings. I don't know how it works, but I do know that if you don't stay connected, I will disappear. And that's just the way the platform works. So I thank you for staying connected. I thank you for reaching out. I thank you for your comments. If your journey ends here, I love you. God loves you so much. Trust in the divine. Trust your intuition. And I send you love with heavenly hugs. Bye for now. And those of you who chose pile 3, welcome, Goddess of Destiny. So, It says, you make a difference in the lives of those you love. This might be coming from that place of, am I doing enough? People around me are not happy, right? You make a difference just by being the light of love that you are. It says, don't fret when you get ensnared on the physical plane, right? This is that part of us navigating the human experience. We've come to this life to learn and know God. And when I say God, I mean the union of the masculine and the feminine. When I say God, for me, the vibration of God is not one entity. For me, it's a way of being. It's a lifestyle. I've studied theology, right? The study of God, the study of divine. And now, as you can tell, I've been working with feminist theology and integrating and marrying and balancing the masculine and feminine energies and the exploration of it. And I know there's so many of you who are watching, especially those who chose pile 3, who are navigating these new energies. It says, simply shapeshift into a winged creature, rise above and allow yourself to see your situation from the highest vantage point, meaning pull back from fixing, saving, changing, making better, right? The doing, the problem solving, the mental work. Pull back and saying, okay, let me pause. Let me activate the energy of stillness and surrender and leaving room for the Holy Spirit, which is the divine wisdom, right? Divine love, divine power, and divine wisdom. Jesus represents in the Christianity, the Christian Trinity, Jesus represents love, God represents power, and the Holy Spirit represents wisdom, right? It's believed that's all we need on this planet: divine love, divine wisdom, and divine power. So you're activating new levels of wisdom, which will come from pause and stillness and rest and nothingness, right? The space in between action and the space in between doing. So it says here, from this sky-high perspective, you can alter your course of destiny. So I mentioned this in another reading where I believe in what I've seen in the work that I've done for many years so far is that we've come into this life to have experiences in certain areas of our life. We've come into this life on a spiritual journey, right? We have our soul mission, which is the work we do in service of others. And then we have our spiritual journey, which is our own inner work. It's our own soul growth. It's our own ascension, which is uncovering deeper levels of wisdom and evolving and navigating a new approach to life. And so understand that you've come into this life to have certain experiences based on your birth number, based on the numerology, on your 9-year cycle and what's going on in the planet. But it is not determined how you learn about those things, right? This is free will. So if you've come into this life to learn about abundance or power or integrity and wisdom or creativity and confidence, if you've come into this life to learn about stability and process, if you've come into this life to learn about freedom and discipline, right? You can learn about those things in a multitude of ways. And so I feel like the Goddess of Destiny is encouraging you to be open to receiving other ways of evolving and growing, which comes from releasing and becoming aware of what's no longer working for us in the way that we've been operating. So the Goddess of Destiny, what she suggests you surrender to the full moon in Scorpio is stress. Wow, I love that her heart is wide open here. This is a beautiful depiction of surrender and receive, right? She's receiving the warmth. Of course, there's water here and there's sun here. There's the masculine and the feminine energies. It says, take a few deep breaths and exhale the tension you've built up in your body. Let the stress go as you come back to your center, right? So again, I cannot speak enough to I just feel like I say, like, doing nothing about something, right? If you're having experiences that are flooding you with stress, and, I've been teaching this class on the present moment for a private company, which I hope to develop and put out, for others, in the future. And one of the things that, I suggest is the surrender. And how we learn to surrender is when we become aware of how we're feeling in the moment. When you feel the tension in your body, when you feel the constriction or restriction in your breath, when you feel the shallow breathing, again, not from a place of judgment, not from a place of disappointment, or not from a place of blame or shame, but saying, oh, I notice it now. And then if you can in that moment, relax, breathe, soften, and open. That's your power. That's your power to say that I can transform this uncomfortable feeling or an emotion that I'm experiencing. And that's where you gain your power, right? So those of you who chose pile 3, I feel like that could be your work in surrendering stress, is just noticing it in your body and releasing the need to want to do something about it, get aggravated about it, get angry about it. If those feelings come up, allow them to come up and move through your body. And then all you've got to do is relax, breathe, soften, and open. You're going to feel it in your middle back, in between your shoulder blades. You're going to feel it maybe in your stomach. We're getting to deeper levels of forgiveness here, right? This Scorpio full moon and the full moon in general, the super moon, is about releasing. Is if we could just recognize it and saying, oh, I see it. And then being able to relax, breathe, soften, and open. And literally, I open up my hands upward, which is the intention to saying, okay, divine, I'm open to receiving guidance and assistance. I'm open to receiving love. And I can shift from that fear-based, controlling energy that causes me stress. And I can shift into, oh yeah, that's right, I don't have to do this alone. Oh yeah, that's right, I have this powerful mechanism that I was gifted with that can support me. All I have to do is ask, right? And again, when I talk about creator and God and source and the divine mother and father mother love, I'm talking about a way of being. It's a lifestyle. It's an activation of light on this planet. It's just not giving up control to one being or one entity. We are that, right? It's not separate from us. And so many earth angels are getting to know ourselves on a soul level through the human form here on this experience. So I feel like those of you who've been guided to these readings, this full moon in Scorpio is like you're in the midst of change and transformation and growth. And these messages are here to love you and support you and encourage you and maybe be a navigator or a map for you. I mean, just sitting with the words that come out and then saying, okay, show me more. I know that your lives will change and transform and grow from the messages and the wisdom that you're open to receiving here. But it will be different for everybody. So those of you who chose pile 3, there's a lot of emotional support here for you. So 3 cards came out, and this is what the Goddess of Destiny is. Her suggestion is like how you can be emotionally supported. So the 3 messages, interesting, replacing what was lost. So it says you now have the opportunity to rejuvenate and start anew. I love that word, rejuvenate, replenish. It says create with a new perspective or outlook. This card may also indicate abundance on the horizon. So as you dig in and you release the stresses, right? All you have to do again is notice it and then open your arms, relax, breathe, soften, and open, using the breath to breathe in and release it to the planet Earth. Replacing what is lost. You can now have the opportunity to rejuvenate and start anew. This is what's coming in the next new moon for you. And then another emotional support, conveying your meaning. So this is card number 5. It's card number 3. It says reflect on the way you communicate with others and with yourself. Be sure to express your thoughts and feelings from your heart and with respect and sincerity. So this could be part of like the expectation that people should act, be, look a certain way, or their actions should be a certain way, right? Sometimes we can come across in that way and it can add stress, especially with the Scorpio full moon in control, right? And negativity that comes up. Remember, you're a sensitive being and we can unconsciously absorb these lower vibrational energies from the fear and the worry and the anger that's going on is being purged in this planet. So reflect on the way you communicate with others and yourself. So when you say things, observe how other people respond to it. So because my channel is mostly feminine viewers, viewers who are feminine dominant energies, observe how what you say, observe the masculine energies in your life. And when you communicate, observe how they respond. Observe their body language, right? Observe your children when you communicate with them. Observe how their body naturally responds. If their shoulders shrink down, or they shrug, or they close up their hearts where their shoulders kind of come forward, and just being able to ask yourself, okay, so that may not have been received in the way that it came out. So how can I maybe replenish or nourish this person, this experience in a way that will light us both up, right? And so it requires inquiry, it requires pause, it requires self-reflection and observation, right? And sometimes, friends, people are just in a space that they've got to get out of themselves, right? And earth angels have a tendency to want to be comfortable. And so we think that if we make everybody around us comfortable, then we'll be comfortable, but it actually adds us more stress. So again, observing your body and what it feels like to be under stress, to relax, breathe, soften, and open. Being open to replenishing, creating a new perspective or outlook, again, with communication, right? Just observing what is not working for you without judgment, blame, shame. Again, these readings are intense and it's uncomfortable to talk about, and it's uncomfortable to look at, and it's annoying and it's aggravating, and it brings up our own stuff. But this is the pathway to healing on deeper levels. We can't ignore this stuff anymore. We can't pretend. We can't navigate in the way we've been going. And so the third message here of emotional support is gentle moderation. And this is card number 6. It says, take your time. Pressure from others or yourself can be released by renegotiating what you are trying to accomplish, right? Observing, like, why am I having this conversation? Or what am I hoping to get from this? Or what is it that I need from this person? And a lot of times I should say, when we ask, like, what do I need from this person? It's really a reflection of, first and foremost, what we need to give to ourselves. If we're expecting others to make us happy, to make us abundant, if we're expecting others to nourish our souls, to give us something that we're not getting, herein lies the trap, right? So the people in your lives, they can activate the love that's already within you. They can activate, in instances, the joy that's already within you. They can activate the sense of security that's already inside of you, right? But we forget when we dip into fear, or the shadow part of the ego, or the human form of the ego that can be tricky, right? When we can slip into those, we can put those expectations and the void on other people, and it's not fair. I've did that for many years, that I'm learning how to adjust and grow from. So I feel like those of you who chose pile 3 is like you're being asked to observe and reflect and be open to change, be open to navigating your soul's destiny and your growth in a different way, right? And that is through self-discovery and observation, and observing the ego that's taking a hit, that just doesn't want to take ownership for part of what is happening, in your life right now. So it's intense, right? So as you can create space and leave room for the Holy Spirit, you can be guided, right? One step leads to another, following the leads. So what are you being gifted with this full moon in Scorpio? Ooh, impatience. Ooh, this is a tough one. So it says, my life, you're being gifted with how to navigate through impatience. So this is kind of like the shadow. And the way out, it says, my life is unfolding in divine timing. All delays are beneficial. I'm always at the right place at the right time. That's what you are being gifted with. The reminder, right? If you're experiencing impatience, that's creating stress, especially as it's connected to people in your life, the people you're working with, your coworkers, or impatience with yourself in your own journey. Remind yourself, I am always at the right place and at the right time. And if you're like, there's judgments to that, or there's stress to that, being able to sit with it, saying, okay, what am I learning from this? How have I grown from it? How can you drop out of the mind of doing something to get something, or doing something about something, and drop down into your feeling body, right? And being able to saying, I feel sad, hurt, confused, insecure, not good enough. When you can just admit that, there's a softening to that. You're like, wow, that's really intense. And then you can, and again, these are parts of you that are having these experiences, not all of you, right? And then you can go deeper into inviting in the divine in your life and saying, okay, how can I navigate this in a different way? How can I activate and receive self-love, compassion, understanding, curiosity, patience with my journey? And you'll be amazed, friends. That's your power. That's how you're then able to help others, because you activate a light in you that radiates from the inside out. You then align to healthier experiences, but you've got to be willing to be open to change. You've got to be okay with whatever happens next, right? And this is what we learn in the pause. Like, I surrender the outcome. I surrender the need for this to be a certain way. I surrender the control that this has to be this way for the whole rest of my life, right? These I want to say warped sense of reality, but it's kind of like distorted sense of reality based on, it could be attachment wounds, it could be based on, like I said, childhood stuff from the past. I'm telling you, friends, these readings this week or this time are really deep, but I feel like this is like a come to Jesus session. We're getting into the nitty gritty. We're laying it all out there, but this is the time to do it, and this is the full moon to do it. Again, full moon, super moon in Scorpio, right? And I just feel, because Scorpio and the sun isn't just dropped into Taurus, and again, it's about the sensuality, it's about sexuality. I feel like a lot of this might be with romantic relationships, or it might be with friendships and partnerships. We might be extra aggravated and annoyed, right? So you got to ask yourself, how much am I giving and how much am I actually receiving? If you're not comfortable with receiving, right? That's the work. That's the work. And the safest place to learn how to receive first is through the divine, because it is a beautiful version and reflection of who you are truly at your core level. So you can sit with God and saying, Creator of all that is, download me with your version of my true self. Download me with your wisdom. Download me with your definition of radiance and beauty and love and compassion, and show me how you see me through your eyes, right? And it could be maybe a puppy comes along, or maybe a baby, or maybe beautiful flower, or maybe somebody gifts you with something that's so beautiful. You've got to allow that into your life, right? So I just feel like maybe those of you who are guided to this, you might be feeling steamy, right? Maybe feeling blocked or stuck, that you're not moving forward on your journey in the way that you hoped or wanted to with regards to your destiny, or with regards to your soul growth and development. Nobody wants to be in this space. But it is the pathway to growth, to ascension, to deeper levels of understanding ourselves, to be able to help others in this lifetime and lifetimes forward if you choose to come back. So Michael's message for you, Michael's overall message of support for you, reminder that God is in charge. So I've been encouraging those in the those who listen to the other piles to screenshot this if you're watching on your phone, or pause it right here and write down this prayer. And for the next 2 weeks, invite the Archangel Michael in your life, the angel of protection, the angel that helps us move through worries and fears and doubts. He's the guardian of the light. He's the police, and he's like looks after and takes care of earth angels on this planet. So he's reminding you this week, these next couple of weeks, as you're going through these changes, these challenges, that I know that you can overcome, because you've been downloaded with the wisdom and the game plan and the map. You have it within you, right? So the prayer is, dear God, please help me to let go of this situation, giving it in faith and trust to your divine wisdom and infinite love in order to resolve and heal everything and everyone involved. So this isn't like you have to do more, say more, be more, have more. I feel like this is you surrendering, open up, and inviting in the divine to assist you to a healthy outcome, right? Something even better than you could have imagined, right? So I have had some experiences myself that I just feel like I don't know how to communicate how I'm feeling, and I just feel confused, and I feel like I'm walking in the dark and I don't know what I'm doing and I need help and blah, 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 right? And so when I notice it, I'm like, oh yes, God is in charge. And so I go to Divine Source. And I'll say, I'm open to receiving a new approach to this. I'm open to receiving communication and skills and guidance. And then, sometimes I'll go on YouTube and just what I need will pop up. Or a pastor or a preacher will come on and it'll be exactly what I need to hear. So God is trying to reach you. The divine is trying to reach you. And I've said this in other readings. I don't think I said it in this one yet. But when I say God, for me, my vision is with God or following the divine is a lifestyle. It's a way of being. When I say God, I see the masculine and the feminine balance. For me, it's more of the yin yang, the integration of masculine and feminine in masculine and masculine in feminine, and the union, right, of both. But remember, that's not a source outside of us. It's already within us that we're learning how to expand on deeper levels, right? So for me, when I say God, source, creator, for me, it's not an entity or one vibration. For me, it's a way of being. It's a lifestyle. It is an experience that we're exploring on this planet in a different way, outside of the old, outdated ways that, spirituality and religion and faith has been pigeonholed, right? So there's this phoenix rising in expansion of self-discovery through the soul, right? Harmonizing through the heart song, through our inner wisdom, right? And this is why understanding and activating and working with your divine feminine energy is so important, because you're learning how to go within and receiving guidance and wisdom on deeper levels. So all right, friends. So those of you who chose pile 3, thank you so much for watching. If this supported you in any way, if it touched your heart, you feel like you resonated with it, I encourage you to just hit that like button. And I am going to close space if you want to stick around a couple more minutes. I'm just going to put these cards back out. Gotta remember how I have them here. And let me close space, thanking all your guardian angels and guides, the archangels, the ascended masters, the Divine Mother and Father, and all their holy beings of light that assisted with this guidance for you today. I want to thank the goddesses that came out to support us, that came up. I'm actually going to put that deck in the description box below if you want to, if you're curious, you want to grab that yourself. Again, I don't know it's relatively new, and I don't know how many decks are available, so I'm going to put that in the notes below. But I want to thank the goddesses that came out. I want to ask that any healing that was started continue for as long as it needs to be done, in mind, body, spirit, and emotions, in all ways, in all directions of time. So thank you so much for watching. If I can support you in any way, connect with me. The way to connect with me or to book an appointment or learn more about me is all in the notes below. And I just thank you for watching. I love you. God loves you so much. Trust in the divine, trust your intuition, and I send you love with heavenly hugs. Bye for now.